Chapter 28. The man was small, shrieking fright as the ape pounced on top of him, grabbing his legs in his jaws. The skeleton shook the rodent viciously, trying to tear his weaker limbs away from his body. The man was small beat his tiny fist against the hard skull of the living dead, but to no avail. The ape reared his head back and slammed the exhausted creature onto the hard ground, stunning it briefly. The entity reared on its hind legs and thrust his claws forward, aiming to plunge him into the soft flesh of his prey. Three moles wielding heavy blades darted in and held their weapons to meet the ape's claws. They still cracked the bones in his arm, and it yanked his arm back with a squall of pain. "Hold them!" Mason hollered over the crowds and shouts of his own warriors, as well as the noise produced by the pursuing creatures of darkness. It was late into the night, and his warriors had been fleeing and fighting for what must have been several hours. The apes were far faster than they were, preventing any significant gain in ground. The light armors pushed forward, swinging wildly as the horrific entity swung and snapped at them, trying to break them up enough to dart in for a quick kill. The moles and manwers moles were learning quickly to keep themselves close together in order to effectively fend off their attackers. However, the faster, taller apes had managed to keep Mason's troops surrounded and confined to a single cluster. Now all they needed to do was find a weak point and bury the blades. "We're breaking through!" Mary was small cried from the front of the retreat. Mason turned around for a split second, see the soldiers towards the front, knocking back several of the apes, attempting to block their path. The general was about to turn back when the torchlight glinted out the evil green eyes waiting in the trees above. "Oh, hold position!" Mason shouted, pushing through the cluster of bodies towards the front of the procession. The man was small paused a moment with a confused look on his face before a crushing force dropped down onto his back, severing his spine in the process. The ape shrieked like a banshee, causing the nearest rodents to jump in surprise as more apes dropped from the trees above. Mason cursed the specters as they proceeded to break the lines of his formation. He hurled his main blade, catching one skeleton in his eye socket. The creature wailed in agony, tearing at his own head, trying to get away from the pain. He then raised his other blade as he hurried to support the front of the lines when he was struck from the side. He bounced across the ground and saw stars spinning around his head. Three apes beared down on him and opened their chests to scream. "General!" One of the mole soldiers shouted frantically, trying to get to a superior officer. Mason covered his face as the apes raised their claws to strike. Suddenly the forest was illuminated in a bright green glow. The apes looked up to have their heads removed from their bodies by a large earth missile. The attack shattered several trees, causing apes hiding in them to fall to the ground before being showered with debris. Mason looked up and coughed hard, trying to breathe through the dust and splinters. "It's Master Tremor!" one of the moles exclaimed excitedly. Every head turned as the Earth Guardian charged out the darkness to bear into the apes. The skeletons squawked in surprise and scrambled to get away. The moles and manwers moles cheered as the young dragon bashed his way through the living nightmares, tossing them to each other, crushing their skulls beneath his powerful paws. But even Tremor was outnumbered. Several arms burst up into the ground and grabbed at him. The Earth Dragon snarled furiously and stomped the ground, sending the buried bodies bursting up into the air, where he finished them off with quick bursts of earth bullets. Two apes dropped from the trees and onto Tremor's back, digging the claws into him and trying not to let go as he bucked and kicked about like a wild horse, trying to throw them off. "Master Tremor!" Mason hollered as he lifted his heavy blade. The Earth Dragon spun once and dropped his body to the ground. The apes looked up as Mason brought his heavy steel across their faces, shining the bones that comprised their faces. Tremor let out an angry roar and stomped all four paws into the ground. All around, spikes of earth burst from the ground, smashing the skeletons to bits while providing cover areas for the rodent soldiers. The remaining apes fled into trees, and Tremor sprang after them. The entities shrieked in fright when they saw the Earth Dragon chasing them. The Earth Guardian sprang from branch to branch, barely flapping his wings in the process. A couple of apes grabbed onto a branch just as he fired an earth bullet, shattering the limb. The apes wailed as he fell towards the ground, striking the lower branches before breaking upon impact with the ground. The last ape leaped for the next tree, only to find swing out of their reach. Tremor swung his tail and the tree moved back as the ape tried to redirect his leap. The entity missed his target and fell screaming into the darkness with a loud crunch of bone against the forest floor. When Tremor glided back down the ground, he was greeted with a joyful and relieved uproar of cheering from the surviving moles and manwers moles. The Earth Dragon forced a smile. These trees had been through hell and back, having been driven from their home and chased by wolves, and out their shells of the past only to come out alive by the skin of their teeth. He had to admire them for their enduring persistence in their survival skills. When banded together, these soldiers were no easy foe. But Tremor's heart and mind were elsewhere. Mason noticed as he trotted over and placed a grateful paw on the dragon's shoulder. "Thank you for the save, Master Tremor," he said with relief. "We wouldn't have made it very long without you." "All part of the job description." Tremor bowed his head slightly in acknowledgement. "Indeed," Mason nodded, looking around Tremor into the woods. "Are you here alone?" "Unfortunately," Tremor grumbled. "Those wolves, they took Candace." He hung his head in shame and tried his best to fight the tears as the mole of memory swells began to gather around him. I couldn't save her." "Come now, Master Tremor." Mason gave his shoulder a comforting squeeze. "You shouldn't blame yourself. You did what you could under the circumstances." Tremor growled. "When I get my hands on that wolf, I'm going to make him pay." He looked around the circle of faces. All the rodents were watching keenly. "But first we better get you guys out of this place. We have to meet up with Spyro. He and Cinder are waiting for us." "Yes, sir." Mason said and the shoes followed his lead. "You are the dragon. Keep moving." The warriors nodded. "Sir, yes, sir." Tremor moved towards the front of the line, leading the moles in the direction that Spyro had etched into his mind after waking up. His spirits were low, but his pace was noticeably high. The past day had been full of losses, including the loss of his dragonness. The Earth Dragon's brow furrowed into an irritated scowl. He was determined to finish the loss of his comrades in arms and get his mate back. And no force in the world would be able to keep him from doing just that. Scrunch set the cage down in the middle of the temple chamber. Inside, Candace glared at him as she had been for the past several hours. The elf was smarting her out of the cage, knocking her off balance, causing her to fall into her wounded leg. Candace bit her lips as she fought through the pain and continued glaring at the wolf. "You dragons really are proud of yourselves." He knelt down in front of the cage and placed a hand on the bars. "Almost in a sort of high and mighty and arrogance if you ask me. But that's never changed about dragons over the years. Get to the point, furball," Candace snapped. "You dragons hold yourselves above all creatures, like you're the dominant beings of this world." Candace almost slapped in his face. "Now what pile of crap did you pull that out of? Because I have never heard anything so disgustingly ridiculous in my life." Scrunch frowned. "Stop mocking me," he snarled, knocked the cage over. This time when Candace hit her arm, she couldn't help but cry in pain. The swelling in her arm was worsening by the second. "You dragons call yourselves the guardians of our worlds simply because you have the ability to harness all the powers of the world around you, automatically make you master of every living creature." Once again, Candace's words glared at him. "Nothing but crap." Scrunch kicked the cage and knocked it against the wall with a loud clang. "Still just as angry in the face of your certain death, dragon. You don't fool me with your words, but your actions go to show your true nature." He gestured around the room. "Look at this place. This city. It's all in dedication for you beasts. You erect statues of towers high above to overlook everything in the land. And you say that you're equal to others, but in actuality you're looking down on everyone. It's dragon nature, you imbecile." Candace groaned as Scrunch looked over to her cage. "We take off from high places because we fly. In case you've never read up on dragon history, we used to live in the mountains thousands of years ago, so it seems like they're obviously ideal places." "Nothing more than garbage and excuses." Scrunch hurled the cage across the room. The bars rattled against the floor before coming to a stop. Candace opened her eyes to see Lena had stopped the cage from rolling anymore. The dark dragon stared down at her in disinterest before turning back to the alpha. "Do you care to explain the meaning of bringing this dragoness to me?" He growled near his eyes at Scrunch. "You informed us that you were going to hunt down the guardian that had humiliated your forces when the guardians had turned to take back the seat the first time." He glanced at Candace, who had a look of terror in her eyes. The dark dragon was much taller than she had last remembered and far more horrific looking. "And instead you bring me this piece of trash instead." Leon slammed his tail against the cage, jingling the bars and nearly crunching Candace in the process. But the enclosure didn't so much as budge an inch, much to Candace's surprise. Immediately the elf dropped to his knees and bowed his head. "Forgive me, master. That was my intention at first. But I thought of a much more suited punch for the Earth Guardian." "Tremor!" Candace gasped silently, her eyes wide in a sudden flush of worry. Leon noticed her reaction and a wicked grin spread across his face as he approached the servant. "Go on, pack leader. I'm listening for the time being." His fire eyes narrowed, and Malifaux's presence could immediately be found in the room. "However, this had better be worth my time." Yes, master." Scrunch stared at the floor, trying to avoid eye contact. "You see, this dragoness," he glanced at Candace, who was watching him with deep interest, "is the mate of the Earth Guardian." Leon's brows jumped at that and he turned to look at Candace. "Oh, that's rather unexpected. I never would have thought that you would let Tremor get to you in such a way." Candace's cheeks flushed and she glared at the dark dragon. What do you know, you bastard? You don't know the first thing about caring for someone, especially the way that you treated Stella. Lane smiled at seeing her reaction. Ah, yes, how is my dear Stella? I hope she wasn't too badly wounded that the Malifaux's powers were bestowed upon me. Then he shrugged. Oh, well, I suppose it doesn't matter too much. I'll make her mine once again, as soon as I deal away with that annoying purple dragon and the rest of your pathetic band of friends. He started turning away when Candace laughed out loud at him. Good luck trying to get Stella to be with you again, you loser. She's already moved on to a real dragon who can treat her better than you ever could. Leon turned his yellow eyes on her and curled his lip. Pleased that she was getting the reaction she wanted, Candace gave him Tremor's signature mark he used to give her whenever getting under scales. Now he's what I consider a real dragon. Good looking, caressed in the most passionate yet gentle way, and the way he kisses her. She shared her shooting fantasies about Tremor, but the intent was getting to the dark dragon. Leon was about to give a violent outburst when Malfoy stopped him. Now is not the time to deal with her. He glanced over his crotch, who was listening and watching to see what would happen with a look of uncertainty about him. Let's hear what you have planned, pack leader. Well, Master, Scrunch bowed his head again for his gaze. I was hoping you would allow me to use some of your power and grant me the ability to corrupt the Guardian to betray her fellow dragons. He raised his eyes slightly to see an interested smile disappear from the Dark Master's face. I have already granted you the ability to use shadows to your liking. He ground his long claws dug in the marble floor, and the darkness of his heart began to emanate from his body. And now you dare ask me for more? Scrunch let a genuine pang of fear in his heart, and he lowered his eyes again. Forgive me, Master. I did not wish to appear greedy. I merely wish to execute the guards in the most painful, torturous way imaginable. Malfoy glared down at Scrunch and pressed his lips together tightly as he pondered over what to make of the elf's request. It was then that the sound of claws scraping against stone reached their ears. Every head turned to the ape skeleton that emerged from the darkness of the temple. The entity howled and soon more began to appear. The green eyes flashed excitedly as he dragged with him two bodies. Candace's jaw dropped when she recognized him. Flame! Amber! She cried, but the fireblades showed no sign of life. Flame had a few nasty bruises and minor cuts, but Amber was covered from head to tail in slash marks from being clawed at and pulled underground. You see these creatures, pack leader? Malfoy cried as he walked in a threatening circle around the apes and now seemed to cower before him. These are what remain of the apes that once served under me. Without warning, Dark Monster lashed down and crushed one of the apes beneath his heavy tail. The bone snapped and the other ape shrieked in fright. The crushed ape's skull was all that remained intact. Malfoy picked it up the floor and looked at Scrunch. I will grant you your wish, pack leader, all because you have served me so well up until now. But keep this in mind. He set his skull down and shared beneath his fall. This is a price for greed. Do I make myself clear? Never again will I ask for such a request, Master. Scrunch nodded and swallowed hard. The remaining apes held the fire dragons down while Malfoy walked up to Scrunch. The Dark Master placed his paw on the wolf's forehead and closed his eyes. After a moment of silence, he let out a roar, and Scrunch felt a dark presence rise up within him. His mouth fell open, but no sound came out.